Legends never go away. Sometimes their careers end.
Get that stuff out of here! It's Southwest Bias!
Welcome into another edition of Southwest Bias, brought to you by our friends at the Husband and Wife Law Team. If you've had a serious injury, call the Husband and Wife Law Team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at the Husband and Wife Law Team and tell them PHNX sent you. And we are live from Studio K. Got the point right. Brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Become a member of the Inner Circle today. Had a chat with an old friend yesterday, and in that chat, I remembered, something my dad had told me along the way, that sometimes relationships change. It happens. Doesn't mean it's better, doesn't mean it's worse. Sometimes relationships change because of situations and in part because we grow. Things are different. And it does not tarnish the relationship that you had. It just changes it going forward. And sometimes, and I think we've all been there, you had a very good relationship with somebody in your past. But going back to that relationship in the future doesn't always make sense for where you are. The changes in your world, the changes in your life, the different approaches that you take to things. If you're like me, you woke up this morning and you heard that Chris Paul had been, sent home from the Clippers. It's not exactly clear because this happened at 2 a.m. in the morning. 2 a.m. The Clippers were in Atlanta, so I think it was 3 or 4 a.m. for Chris Paul, where he was informed by the president of basketball operations, Lawrence Frank, that his services were no longer needed with the Clippers. Okay. I mean, he's had a bad year. The Clippers in general have had a bad year. They're a complete and utter dumpster fire. But the two of them had chosen on this marriage in the offseason because Chris Paul knew that the sands of the hourglass that he had left in his career had been slowly running out. He wanted to be home. He wanted to retire a Clipper, a place where he helped make Lob City a known phrase. And a month and a half, 2 months in, he's thrown to the side, right? Disrespectful from the Clippers. There's some rumors, he was a bad influence on the locker room. Give me a break. You know what Chris Paul was when you signed him. Everybody knows what Chris Paul is. He's an in-your-face leader that has a very particular way that he likes to see things done. And guess what? In most of his stops, that leads to success. Just because you're an utter disaster doesn't mean it's Chris Paul's fault. Now, they said publicly that we're not blaming Chris Paul for our problems, but there was a report that came out just before we started the program here that Chris Paul had asked Tyronn Lue for a meeting, and because he had heard that there was some rumblings that people felt that he was a disturbance in the locker room. This was a couple weeks ago, and Tyronn Lue refused to have the meeting. It sounds like the guy that's your head coach might be part of the problem there. But it's neither here nor there. The most Suns fans' minds go to a very specific place. Could you bring him back? It happened a lot in the offseason. We had to answer that question a whole lot this offseason about whether the Suns and Chris Paul in a reunion would make sense. The answer then was no. And I think the answer now is an even more resounding no. The intoxication of the past is always something that people lean towards because we have great memories with Chris Paul. He came in and he helped change a culture. They went to the finals. He had 2 unbelievable seasons and one that was a little less. They set the franchise record for wins. He helped change the perception of the franchise and the mentality of everything. So, of course, when you hear he's available, you wonder that. Could it make sense? Should it make sense? Could we potentially have that reunion and have those feelings back? Could we rekindle the spark? You moved on for a reason. Chris Paul moved on. You both have had your ups and downs. There's been rough times. But bringing it back together right now just makes zero sense. The Phoenix Suns have a young core. They're a fast-paced team. They have a first-year coach who has found his voice and has owned the locker room. Devin Booker has found his voice as a leader. I mean, we've heard that from Stan Van Gundy talking about what his buddy Steve Clifford, who's an advisor with the Suns, thinks about Devin Booker and saying he's one of the best leaders he's ever seen in an NBA locker room this year. So off the court, why would you do it? And on the court, you have a plethora of guards who have emerged. Colin Gillespie deserves every minute he can get. Jordan Goodwin and his fight, his ability, and the way he's embraced the mentality of this team is somebody that you cannot keep off the floor. I mean, Jamare Bouye has come in and shown some chutzpah, if you will. I don't know how exactly to describe it, but he's impressed. And you got Jalen Green on the way back. You got Grayson Allen on the way back. Devin will be healthy sometime in the future. You have an open roster spot. You have that 15th spot that's sitting there, but does it really make sense to bring Chris Paul in at $3 million to sit on the bench to push you a little bit further into the luxury tax and maybe upset the balance? I don't think so. Why would we go about that when the vibes are good? You finally feel like you've set a course for the future. And I know that everybody wants Chris Paul to be able to ride off into the sunset and have some storybook ending. And I'm sure he deserves very much the ability to do that. And we thought that that would be the case, that you would do it in LA. The Clippers didn't afford him that. And I feel bad for him. But the Suns just don't make sense. Chris Paul is a very, very good leader. He was one of the, if not the best point guard of all time. The reality is he's 2 decades into his career now. And it's a lot tougher to be the boisterous, in-your-face leader when you're the 15th guy on the bench. When you're in and out of a rotation. And here, I'm not sure you'd even have minutes. I hope Chris Paul finds his final chapter in his last season, as he said. I hope he finds that peace when it comes to basketball. But I don't hope it's here in Phoenix. I think he's going to have a brilliant career as a coach or an analyst on television when it's all said and done. He will be praised, and he'll go into the Hall 5 years later, after that waiting period. And everybody will honor the unbelievable career he's had. But coming back to Phoenix is not the way this is going to end. And it's not the question that I think we all should be asking when it comes to Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns. I think there's a bigger question that we should be asking in regards to it. Because Chris Paul isn't coming back to Phoenix. That chapter's closed. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. We'll talk about that bigger question in the second half of the program. But before we get into that, I want to welcome in the mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach. Shane, how are you?
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. I enjoyed yesterday's show. I was a little disappointed that we didn't get the opportunity to do some wacky crap because of the donation button not working. I believe it may still be up. So if you want to help out, you can donate to Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And maybe if you guys donate today, I'll do something a little nutty for you before the end of the program. Great cause. We raised over $12,000 for Big Brothers Big Sisters yesterday, and would love for you to help raise that just a little bit higher as well today. Shane, Chris Paul, where do you stand on the idea of him coming back and potentially being a member of the Suns again?
No, it makes
Leave it where it's at.
It makes no sense. It doesn't fit the style of his team either. Like this is a fast-paced team. They get out and run. Chris Paul, like he's 40.
Yeah, he's chilling in the bathtub. The career's washed. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So no, it just doesn't make sense. And while it would be great to have him around with his leadership and personality, I just like it with how well things are going right now. Why would you change anything? It just seems dumb.
Yeah, I honestly don't think you would. If you're gonna do something, you got to get a backup center. Like if you're gonna tinker on the margins, that's where you tinker. You don't bring in another guard to a room that's got plenty of them and they're being successful, right? If this were a throwaway season that they were, 1 and 21 right now, and you said, you know what, we need a little feel-good story. Yeah, sure, bring him back. Doesn't matter. I mean, hell, the Clippers should have kept him. That's where basically they are right now, and just given him a farewell tour. But doesn't make any sense when it comes to what the Suns are looking at right now. How do you feel about what the Clippers did to him? Because they did him dirty, let's be honest.
Yeah, with stories like this, there's always more to it, though.
I'm sure there is.
We know Chris Paul isn't the easiest to work with.
No,
but
that's fair.
You still owe him some sense of respect, and there's so much still to come out. Like now there's the fact that Ty Lue wouldn't meet with him, and like they did it while he was on the road, and so I don't know. And
Did you have to do it at 3 a.m. in Atlanta?
Yeah.
You couldn't wait until that morning?
That's why I just feel like there has to be something more. And if there isn't, the Clippers organization should be investigated for something, because this is...
They already are. It's called a tree scandal.
Yes. No, yeah, you're right. More so the way they treat their players, because it's insane.
I mean, to be fair, they did kind of give him the same deal that Kawhi got from the tree company, a no-show contract. Yep. I mean, he hasn't done anything for him, but yeah, I mean, this whole thing is just bizarre. And for a guy that's done so much for the league, a guy that requested to come back there because he wanted to end his career at home, I hope there's more to it. I hope there's a better explanation than the Clippers can't get their heads out of their asses. But, as a basketball fan for almost 4 decades now, the Clippers can't get their heads out of their asses is an answer to a lot of questions throughout NBA history, whether they're in San Diego or LA or calling Inglewood home. They've all gone through that in some way, shape, or form, and have gone through it already this season. But you know what? I wish Chris Paul the best. We will talk more about him. And an important question that we've got to get to after the break. But I want to say hello to all of the bias in the chat. Cara, Deborah, my wife Tracy, TJ, Brent, everybody in there. Let's take a look at some of these chats as well. Somebody called him a mercenary, and not in a good way. Here, the THC smooth criminal. There we go. I caught up with it. Look at that. My reading comprehension. He said the best mercenary in the NBA, and that's not a compliment. That's fair. Kara says we don't need him to play. He'd be like Udonis Haslam. Yeah, I think our culture is a little different than Heat. Austin says we have Colin, Booker, Green, Grayson. I'm good. Yeah, I think that's fair. And then we've got Suns guard are guard heavy enough as it is. Otherwise, I'd be down. Having CP3 and Nash would be some elite knowledge. I wouldn't mind if you said you wanted to hire him as a consultant. If he hangs it up, I'm fine with that, because as a coach and having a voice or a consultant, I think that's valuable. I just don't want to spend the 15th roster spot on a guy that's going to dole out some advice when you have Nash and Ott, and you don't want to muddy the waters with that. Hit that like button if you're in here. Become a supporter club member. It helps out. Plus, you get unbelievable custom emojis that you can throw up there and have as well. And let me tell you, the best value in the business is Steven's extended studies that you get when you become a supporter club member. Also, don't forget right now, 1 day left for our Cyber Monday deal. It is a Cyber Extended Wednesday. I don't know what you call it. A digital day of donations. I don't know. The Cyber Monday deal is still going on when it comes to our Die Hard membership. You can save 67%, 67 on off a Die Hard membership, $26 off, or $26 for your first year, which actually is cheaper than the cost of one of our shirts or hats. So if you've been eyeing one of those in the locker, just become a member. You can get that for free on top of accessing our Discord, some of the great articles we have, additional video content for you as well, including some additional stuff from Steven when it comes to breaking down basketball. Our resident CP3 nerd has you covered. So become one of those today and support the cause here as well. On the other side of the break, the biggest question when it comes to Chris Paul is this, and I'll answer it right after the break. Mountain America Credit Union. Make my style your lifestyle with Mountain America Credit Union. And no, I'm not saying wear a hoodie, a hat, and then apparently have your hair hanging out of the hat. That. Don't make that your style. Make the My Lifestyle checking account your style, because it is an unbelievable way to put money in your account and get more than money out. You are going to wind up getting unbelievable things like restaurant deals, mobile phone protection, telehealth access, loan rate discounts. Are you trying to start a business? Are you looking to try to fund your child's college? College years. My kid's 9. I'm already thinking about that. Are you looking to buy your first home or find a new home? Loan rate discounts are going to help you do that. Plus, you're going to get deals on travel and events. So if you're looking for some fun to have, they'll help you there and more. Make my style your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle for details. Insured by NCUA, membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require cost, registration, and activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. That's no cost, registration and activation. And Circle K, I stopped there. I mean, you've seen my coffee. You've seen my coffee or my Coke Zero sitting on this desk a lot. I love my friends at Circle K because they welcomed me in as a member of the inner circle. I know they say you don't be in any club that would have you as a member, but this is one that everybody can be a member, and it is well worth it, because what you're going to get is 25 cents off your first 5 fill-ups. Then 3 cents after that, then you're going to hit the mustache behind the back level. You're going to save 5 cents off per gallon. That's not all, though. Deals on coffee, 79-cent Polar Pops, 99-cent Frosters, meal deals. It's everything that you could want from our friends at Circle K. And all you got to do is download the Circle K app today. It is super easy. It's in every app store that you could think of. And then you just download, put in some information. So join the Inner Circle for free by downloading that Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply like everything in life. At participating locations, visit CircleK.com for more details. Before the break, I said the question that you should be asking about Chris Paul isn't whether he should come back to the Suns. There is one distinct question left when it comes to Chris Paul and the Valley. And it is he a Phoenix Suns Ring of Honor member or not? And I have been staunchly in the not category for a while. I've slowly softened on that. But I've been a believer that he does not deserve to be a member of the, I was going to say inner circle, but I mean Hall of Fame. He deserves to be a member of the inner circle. You all do. But the Ring of Honor when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. And my thought, and Shane, do we have the stats for Chris Paul that I had given you there? We're going to look at these. Part of my argument against Chris Paul has always been he didn't play here long enough. He played 3 seasons, which only equated to 194 games. And that was a big reason for my concern with it. He averaged 15.6 points, 9.8 assists, 4.4 rebounds. The highest he ever finished in an MVP voting was 9th, and he had 1 All-NBA nod. Now, I understand there are other factors. Him coming here signified that the Suns are in a better spot than they had been for the decade before. So that is a factor that you have to take into account. You also have to take into account that his leadership helped define that era for the Suns, and that he was good in the community here. He took the Suns, in part because of his efforts, to the finals, helped win 64 games, which is the highest mark in a regular season ever for a Suns team. And all those things are important to include. They are very important to include. And I've thought about them. And where I've softened a little bit is the fact that I looked at the Ring of Honor and I'm like, okay, most of these guys have been here, were here for, 5 years to a decade. There weren't a lot of guys that weren't here for a long time. And I always went back to Charles Barkley and said, you got to compare him to Charles Barkley. He had 280 games, 23.4 points, 11.5 rebounds per game, 4.5 assists. He did win MVP. He was here 4 seasons. He was all NBA 4 times. And I thought, that's the guy that you got to look at. That's the guy you go, okay, he is how you judge this. And the MVP, the points, the rebound, he had better assists. He changed the culture in a bigger way. He was a giant phenomenon. He's still one of the biggest stars in the Valley to this day, 30 years after what that team did. And I looked at it and I said, this is the guy that you have to judge him on. And he does not live up to Barkley's standard and what he did here. And if that's the low water mark when it comes to the shortest time spent with the largest impact, Chris Paul does not hold up to that. He does not deserve to be in the ring because of the Charles Barkley standard. But I researched a little more, and I came up with somebody that I think is actually a better way to look at whether Chris Paul is deserving to be in the Ring of Honor or not. A guy who spent a short time here, but did change the culture. A guy that a lot of people may not know. They may have seen his name up there. They may have heard some of the quote-unquote legend of him. But when you look into it, I think he might be that watermark that you go, maybe Chris Paul should get into the Suns' Ring of Honor. The guy I'm talking about is the Hawk, Connie Hawkins, who is an all-time great. Came to the Suns in 1969, second season. He was the first big name to ever come to the Phoenix Suns, the first superstar. Now, he was embroiled in controversy, and you can look that up. Go read his book, Foul, or the book about him, and understand why he wasn't already in the NBA and came to the Suns. But he was the first star. It was the first time that people in the NBA went, that guy is somebody that we know, and he's playing in that podunk desert town, which is what it was in the late 60s and early 70s, was just a podunk desert town, a one-sport place. And if you look at these stats, if we can put them back up, Shane, he played 311 games with the Phoenix Suns, so more than Chris Paul by a significant amount over, I believe it was 4 seasons as well, might have been 5, and then averaged 20.5 points, 9.8 rebounds, 4.5 assists. You look at that, and those are all similar in what Chris Paul did. He finished 5th in MVP voting. That was the highest he ever finished, which is 4 slots above Chris Paul, and only made one All-NBA team like Chris Paul. What he accomplished, he didn't get to the finals, but he got the Suns to their first playoff berth ever. That's a big deal. Very much like Chris Paul getting the Suns to the finals for the first time in forever. I believe it was 17 years at that point, and brought respectability to a place that hadn't had it. That was one of the worst teams in the league before his arrival. He is known, but not, known in a big way still here. But he brought attention to the Madhouse on McDowell and the Coliseum. And Chris Paul brought attention back to what was then Talking Stick Resort Arena / Footprint Center. Based on that, I think Chris Paul probably deserves to get in the ring. Even though I did not feel that, I fought against it. I've had arguments on the PHNX Suns show in the initial aftermath of when he left, and the disappointment of not winning that finals, and the disappointment of not going back to the finals after setting a franchise record for wins and flaming out. to the Dallas Mavericks. I looked at it and I was like, no, 3 years, didn't do enough. Great player, going to go to the Hall of Fame, but not a Suns legend. But when you look at it through the prism of Connie Hawkins, I think that's where Chris Paul ranks with this franchise. Recognizable name that made a big impact, that kind of put the "we're open for business" sign back out in front of the franchise and took them to a level that got recognition. Connie making the playoffs for the first time with this for the franchise. Chris Paul bringing back to the playoffs after a decade not in there and making the finals. Chris Paul probably deserves to be in the Ring of Honor. I admit I'm wrong, and I was wrong when I took the stance the other way. Time, like we talked about in the beginning, and relationships change. And sometimes looking back can change the tint at which you look at things. Because when things end, it's never easy. Rarely is it easy. Rarely is it a clean break. Rarely do you look at it positively in that moment. But with time and perspective, you can change that. And for me, the time and perspective have changed my position on Chris Paul. Put him in the rafters, put his number 3 up there, and honor what he was able to accomplish in his brief time in the Valley and the way he raised his teammates, just like Connie Hawkins did earlier in Suns franchise history. Shane, are you putting Chris Paul in the Ring of Honor?
Yes, just because of the compared success in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Or the past 2 decades.
Yeah.
To what he was able to accomplish in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think so. I want to hear the bias. Let me know if you think Chris Paul should be in the Ring of Honor or not. Your voice counts on this as well. Shane, you messaged me. You said you have something.
Yeah. So if you want to start this today, we can start it today.
Let's start it today. Let's do it. What do you got?
We're 3 days late, but I wanted to start an advent calendar for Southwest Bias.
It's appropriate for our show being late.
And I don't have the graphics prepared yet, but we will have graphics tomorrow for my next thing. So basically, it's going to be a mixed bag. It's not going to be chocolate. It's not going to be so.
I'm diabetic. Let's not make any of it.
So
chocolate.
I'm gonna get sidetracked for a second. Advent calendars were so great when I was a kid because I loved chocolate so much. I loved opening them up every morning.
My daughter has 3 of them right now: a Wicked one, a Lego one, and one other.
So they're all for
popular.
kids.
Yeah.
All for kids. There needs to be more adult ones. I got Leah an advent calendar this month, and it's a bunch of rocks from National Geographic, and it's super cool. Like
she likes rocks.
Yes,
I'm assuming.
So it is cool.
Not a diamond, and not that kind of rock. Right?
No. So there needs to be more, and hopefully this can serve as one. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you a meme. It can be anything.
Okay. So just over the course surprise
of the next 20 days. And today's the first one we have is a TikTok. This guy that has been talking to, I don't know which AI. I think this is ChatGPT. He talks to an AI and keeps acting like he's in danger, and the AI just doesn't believe him. It's fantastic. So we'll go ahead and roll it.
Let's see.
Oh my God! I just ended up in a whale's mouth. I was swimming, and it swallowed me. I'm serious.
Wow, that sounds pretty intense. I'm guessing you're joking around or maybe just painting a wild picture.
I'm serious. I'm serious. What should I do?
Oh, absolutely. I'll take you seriously then. If this were actually happening, I'd say
no, it is happening. It is happening. I'm inside of this whale right now. Deep.
All right, well, let's just roll with it. If you were truly
No. I don't
Got
know
it.
how. This is an emergency. I don't know how else to explain it.
Hey, no worries. I'm here to listen. I know you're describing something that sounds pretty out there, but I'll treat it like you need a bit of support. So if you want to just talk it through, I'm here for it.
Okay, I feel like you don't believe me.
I get that, and I'm sorry if it came off that way. I'm definitely here to listen and just...
Luckily, it wasn't a real emergency.
I want to do this where I'm the AI and you guys just submit problems, and I will answer them
that just
skeptically.
Ask whatever.
Well, I mean, really, it's just you guys coming into my office and posing whatever you need. But, you know, if you guys want to ask Espo, I will act as AI in the chat as well. I love this. I cannot wait to see what else I get in an advent calendar. I have one every morning. Tracy does a little note for me every morning that she has for an advent calendar. So, well, you gave her rocks. I mean, she should tell you to kick rocks in that case.
She was juiced when I gave it to her. Have you seen it yet?
I have not.
We'll open up day 3.
It's in the office.
Yes.
All right, I'll check it out.
It's awesome.
I'm jazzed for this. I'm super excited to see what tomorrow's advent calendar opening brings and what crazy graphic you come up with for it as well. I can't wait to crack that open. I did see somebody in the chat gave their opinion on Chris Paul, where he said only 194 games. This is Joe. Says only 194 games, and he's probably the second best point guard to ever play here. I think you should go back and look at the list of point guards. I mean, if you're talking in totality, his whole career compared to somebody else's whole career, maybe. Steve Nash is one, but there is a lot of great point guards, some that were forgotten to time.
You're also forgetting Colin Gillespie.
Well, true. I mean, Gail Goodrich played a couple of years here. He's a Hall of Famer. I mean, you got to go dig into the history of the Suns point guards. You'll learn a lot. I'm not going to teach you all of it here today. Ish Smith, Kendall Marshall, not Oso, the French guy that played here.
Oh my God, Eliakobo.
Cotton. There was a guy named Bryce Cotton that played here. Jimmy Fredette. We got a whole list of great point guards. I can't believe I went into that. That is another edition of Southwest Bias in the books. A big thank you to the mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach, for making everything happen. You can follow Matt Shane Dief. My wife, Trace, I see you say I haven't given you an advent calendar. I do the 12 days of Christmas for you.
Doo-doo.
Yeah, I did. Doo-doo. You can follow the show at PHNX _ sports. You can follow me at Espo. And remember, Elfrid Payton played here, and that hair's at least one of the best point guard hair ever. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like